guys, I'm back here. There's something I wanted to talk about in regards to the Olympics. The Olympics that is happening right now, the truth is this about a lot of athletes. A lot of people, when it comes to the Olympics, will think, oh yeah, athletes are rich, athletes make a lot of money. Oh yeah, athletes are being supported. They're the best athletes in the world. What do you mean for their events? They're making money. They're Olympic athletes. What are you talking about? Um, Newsflash: Olympic athletes are broke. I don't mean just broke. I mean they are broke, like poor. Like most Olympic athletes in the United States of America are poor. They are working second jobs, quite literally, because their sponsors will only pay them. Oh, like since you're a great athlete, we're not going to pay you a salary, but hey, we'll pay you in free gear. We'll pay you in free gear. I'm like, okay, thanks, but how am I going to get to the track meets? Oh yeah, you're going to have to win the track meets and cover the cost of your travel. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, seriously, I've spoken with Olympic athletes. I've spoken with people that have been in both the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics. And they have all said this to me. Like, literally. We have had to we have to place, technically speaking, we have to place at a certain, placing, podium wise, we have to place a certain placing just to break even. Because performance wise, you can imagine if you're working a second job, your performance is definitely taking a hit because you're having to work extended physical labor. You're not able to just focus on track and field. You can't. You simply can't. So, yeah, Olympic athletes are poor. They're literally broke. I mean, literally the Olympic Committee, you can literally go check it out. The Olympic Committee, the IOC basically doesn't even have air conditioning. Do you know how hot it gets in Paris, France? It gets like 80, 85 degrees, 95 degrees. It gets hot. It does get hot in that city. So you can imagine hot air rises, it accumulates. So how are the athletes supposed to sleep when it's 70 degrees at night, 70 or and then at the same time, because the hot air has risen so much and it's like stuck in, it's a cloud, it's essentially accumulated. It's literally 80 degrees in the room. You can't sleep in 80 degrees. You are sweating. Your body cannot fall asleep in 80 degrees temperature. It can't. So the United States, and you have like these other rich countries that are like supplying, sorry, it's just battery, supplying essentially the Olympics. So they're supplying AC units. So I'm like, hold on a second. Why is it that rich countries can afford the AC units, but poor countries or middle income or you could say second tier countries, they can't? So Olympic athletes, they're being treated like crap. They are being treated like shit. They don't get paid royalty fees. They don't get paid anything. And we're talking about companies with billboards, marketing right behind the athletes, using their notoriety, using their name for free. These companies are making billions. Billions. And there's this video you can go check out. I'm going to be placing it in my description. Parisians, French Parisians that live in Paris, they literally, they're leaving. They don't even want to watch the Olympics. French people don't give a singular shit about the Olympics. They really don't. They really, really, really don't. Seriously, they really don't. French Parisians are actually leaving. Apparently, and it's going to say in the description of this video, it's going to say in the video, apparently French people, there's this one restaurant owner in Paris. He literally says people have to literally use their QR codes to go to because of the security of the Olympics. People have to use their QR code to go into different sections of Paris. Are you serious? I'm a taxpayer. Like, how? Why? Like, why would I, like, and apparently you need to also use your QR code to enter restaurants, or you won't even be allowed in, or they can't serve you and they'll be penalized by the French government. I don't know about you, but I think the Olympics, I think cities really need to rethink what the Olympics has been marketing as, because it's clearly not sports. It is clearly not sports. It is clearly just a corporate circus now. That's essentially what the Olympics is. It's a corporate circus. I mean, people are just caring about the opening ceremony, like, oh, it's woke, it's woke, it's woke. Oh my God, and this and that. That could be the least of my concerns. What I'm concerned about is that athletes are not getting paid, and there is mass exploitation happening with athletes right now. And these government political members and crap like that, they're making millions. They're making millions. Corporations. They're making a lot of money, essentially, from this. Meanwhile, athletes will never see a fucking dime. I mean, I know athletes. I've known athletes who are Olympians. They literally told me they've fallen out of love with their sport because, like, it's always a struggle. It's always a hassle. They have to pay for travel lodging. They have to pay for this. They have to pay for coaching fees. Like, it's just, it never ever seems to fucking end. It never seems to end. Like, seriously, Christian Taylor, go check him out. Olympic triple jumper. He just retired recently. I met him back in 2017 at Azusa Pacific meet. He gave me an autographed photo. And basically, I mean, it's just, Olympians, they're slaves. They're literally slaves to their coaches. They're literally slaves to these shoe companies that they sign for. They literally are. It's like, you cannot find a different coach. Let's say if you have a great match with your coach and everything's going good, you get signed and sponsored. That's it. You cannot go for that coach. You have to go with a Nike affiliated coach. And that man could not be a fit at all. That man or woman who's a coach, they could be an absolute piece of shit. Seriously. Like, it's just not a fit for the athlete and the coach. But they don't care. Because, they're a Nike affiliated coach. Oh, they're an Adidas affiliated coach. They're a Puma affiliated coach. Like, people are finally, I think a lot of people are finally starting to wake up, who are athletes like myself, who are semi-professional, and are starting to realize, holy moly, like, this is the game. Like, the game is rigged. The game is completely rigged. We're essentially pawns. We're pawns of the game, essentially, while they just make off with their money and crap. I mean, it's just, it's insane. It's crazy. I mean, I knew this one Olympian who was a shot putter. She got a bronze medal within the Olympics. She was homeless in her car. She was literally living in her car. She was literally the number one shot putter in the United States. And this was back in the 2000s. She told me she was living in her car before she went to 2000 Sydney. So this is nothing new. Exploitation within the Olympics, it's been happening for years, decades. It's, mass gentrification, since they've been kicking out a lot of people, jacking up the prices and crap like that. This has been going on for decades. The last thing I'd like to include is this. Less and less and less countries want to host the Olympics now. We are now to the point where 2024 and 2028 Olympics, which is now confirmed, 2024 Paris, which is happening right now, and then 2028 Los Angeles. Those were the only two cities that were competing in the bid against each other. Back in 2000, there was over 16 cities competing for the Olympics. Back in 2004, I forgot the number. I think it was 8 or 10. I might be incorrect, but still a lot more than now. Now only two cities, because there was no other rivalry. They just handed it year by year to them. And then I also saw another athlete. There's a lot of athletes where this is happening right now. They're not qualifying. They're not quick enough to qualify. You know, they lose in qualifications. Usually, when you lose in qualifications, that's it. Wait another 4 years. See you in another 4 years. But a lot of athletes have actually been getting selected. So it's no longer like a top three qualification. No, it is money, nepotism, connections, essentially. Like, that's essentially what it is now. Like buddies and buddies and shaking hands with each other. That is essentially what the Olympics is starting to turn into. It's turning into something very similar like Formula One, where it's a massive corporate circus. Things are starting to be fixed. Things are starting to just completely go full blown exploitative, essentially speaking. Basically, it's no longer about the sport. It is now only about profit. That's it. And it's just, as an athlete who used to look up and want to be in the Olympics, meeting Olympic athletes and hearing their stories, I'm like, wow. Like, Nick Simmons, I'd love to collab with you. It's just, he signed an NDA with Nike. This man has been retired from track and field for over 10 years. That NDA is still going on. This man cannot speak. If he speaks, he will get sued. So apparently they're having athletes sign non-disclosure agreements for their entire lives. That's like the movie Bedazzled, to where Brendan Fraser sells his soul to date the dream girl that he wants to date right down the street from him in Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco. There's a whole movie about it. It's a fucking hilarious film. Back in the 2000s when he made The Mummy King. But yeah, like, people are literally selling their souls for these shoe company contracts, like Adidas, Nike, these like big brand deals and stuff. They are selling their souls. It's fucking atrocious. I mean, because as kids, we're like, oh, fastest on the line up. Who's going to be the fastest on the race line, essentially? That's how it was back then when we were kids. You get into the adult world of track and field, you get into college of track and field, man, it is different. The coaches don't care. It's a one-size-fits-all training program. You're injured, get off the team, literally. You're injured, your contract gets garnished by 50% or more, like Allison Felix from when she got pregnant. The female athlete who won more Olympic golds and broke more records than Usain Bolt. All for getting pregnant, Nike cut her contract by 70%. So, I'm going to just say this right now. Yeah, the opening ceremony was weird. They could have used straight people. I get it. They could have used LGBT people, like bisexual. They could have used any. They could have just, instead of just, oh, we got to go trans, they could have just used anybody. That is not part of my concern now. Part of my concern is that athletes every day are being exploited. They are being exploited in the tunes of millions, and they're only seen in the mere percent of the revenue that they produce for these companies. They see pittance, just small pennies to what they're producing for these companies like Nike, Adidas, and Puma. Thank you.